in everybody's faces quite sharply.
So you're saying Max Payne? You're saying Max Payne is another leg up. That's what you're basically saying. Max Payne is sending this thing one leg higher.
Yeah, one leg higher in kind of disbelief, and then kind of trapping a bunch of new entrants in, and then it does the typical 30% correction in a week and a half, and everyone's like, holy shit, what is this thing I've bought? Why did my friend at Thanksgiving cousin at Thanksgiving tell me to buy this? It's gone down 30%. We've got to go through that sort of stuff. Then normally it should rally all the way through till US tax season.
Max Payne might just be around the corner, followed by massive gains until tax season.
Blue Chip Crypto 3. Welcome on into another episode of Blue Chip Crypto. And this is an audio reaction. I'm going to leave the link in the description to let you know my sourcing of this. I give credit when credit's due. But Raoul Pal is stating that, which I believe that in 2025, especially the beginning of the year, Bitcoin can probably go up all the way to 150,000 to 250,000, right? I say it's going to go up by another 50K, not financial advice, another 50K, and like he say, crash down by 30%, and then it's going to rally, and then by the end of 2025, 2026, right, by the end of it, right, we're going to have a major crash because then it's back to accumulation zone and Bitcoin winter and all these other little things, right? So I think we're in it. We're in it, and it's happening right in front of us. Continue to listen.
That's the latest word from Raoul Pal, CEO of Real Vision and veteran macro analyst. Bitcoin has achieved its biggest single-month gain yet in November, closing in at approximately $96,400. Many analysts speculate more price gains shortly, but Raoul Pal is cautious about these claims. He believes we are due for a correction this December, but that's just part of the Bitcoin game. According to Raoul Pal, after the correction, the market usually bounces back strong, especially leading up to the US tax season. For now, the so-called Max Payne might just mean one more leg up before the massive gain.
In tax season, y'all know what that means. More money is coming right into the market. Tax season, more money is going to come into the market. Therefore, more money is going to flow into Bitcoin.
Make sure to stick around until the end of the video as Raoul Pal shares more useful insights about this prediction. Also, guys, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. If you enjoy staying up to date with finance content, consider subscribing or liking the video. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Now, here's Raoul Pal on his warning about the correction.
Calling all inconsistent traders. If you've tried trading with alerts, AI...
Now, what do you guys projection, which no one can honestly project? Let me repeat, right? And I'm gonna say this a few times in this channel, probably every time to let you guys know. When you see these predictions, right? It's an estimation. No one truly knows how high this can go. Let me repeat. No one truly knows how high this can go. See, I want to be authentic on this channel because there's a lot of fluff going around. Especially pay attention to the channels that's overhyped, that's saying, oh, everything is going to the moon, or they hit you with major fear. Everything's going to come crashing down. No, we don't do that over here. That's called clickbait, right? That's called clickbait. It's other creative ways you can engage your audience by making sure that you have some form of authenticity, right? I will much rather tell the truth on this channel because I notice that's what's really worth it. People are tired of the lies. They're tired of legacy media. They really want to know the truth, especially they try to suppress crypto. They try to suppress it. So why would you continue doing their job? No. So be careful of that. That's all I'm saying. Be careful of that. Be careful of that.
But the person who put it up copied our chart, but he used, I think, an 8-week or 8-week lead. We think the best fit is the 12-week lead. Now, who knows who's right in this, right? This is we're all fitting patterns and hoping it works. But generally speaking, for me, this is a rerun of 2017. It's very similar. And that peaked out end of deck, fell 35% in Jan, for like 3 weeks and then rallied. So your hypothesis, I think, is right. I actually think it probably gets to the kind of 110, 120 first, but it's pretty 50-50 which chart works. But really what it's saying is liquidity, because of the dollar going up ahead of the election, because of rates going up ahead of the election, and the fears about Trump and fears about tariffs and stuff like that, what was causing that issue, and that does lead crypto prices. So a strong dollar, as we know, is a wrecking ball because it's tightening financial conditions. It's tightening financial conditions. So that correction was the strength of the dollar. So money supply is increasing, but it was being offset even more so by that recent spike in the dollar, which I think is reversing now. I think Scott Bessent being put into the Treasury is likely to believe in a weaker dollar, likely to believe in lower rates.
So you think that the dollar probably topped just after the elections because of Trump's
Correct.
talks of tariffs and making America stronger and everything else. But tell us why you think that Scott coming into the Treasury would probably bring...
Firstly, 2016 Trump, exactly the same happened. The dollar went up and rates went up. January, they all reversed. And they continued down all of that period. So we need to go back to 2016.
That's over here.
So there you go. Right. So what happened is 2016, we had that spike. Then it came back down for the rest of 16 and then eventually spiked later from 18 onwards. So, that was perfect. Very similar kind of setup. Not identical looking, but same idea. Scott Bessent, somebody I've known for 20 years. He was a macro hedge fund guy. He's been to my house in Spain, that kind of stuff. I've known him for a long time. Scott gets the picture, and if he wants to stimulate growth, which is what he said, the most important thing to try and pay this debt cycle off is to increase growth. And then he talked about a weaker dollar, and he's talked about lower rates, and he's talked about lower oil. All of those things say he wants looser financial conditions. So if that's the case, that's good for us and our bags, essentially.
Do you still see like a long run in Bitcoin? How do you see, for example, the next couple of months playing out?
Yeah, but don't forget we had an 8-month consolidation with a 40% range.
Yeah, that's why I ask.
Right. So generally speaking, it tends to be explosive coming out, the banana zone, right? And I kind of set people up for the banana zone, and here we are in the banana zone. So the question is...
So we're in the banana zone. So we're in... You're saying we're firmly in the banana zone.
How could it not be bananas, right? 50% in a month.
Yeah. How big are the banana? How big are the bananas in the Cayman? Because that's quite a big banana.
Okay, they're not very big here, but we're not far from a lot.
And when they talking about the banana zone, no Diddy, no homo, no anything along that nature, right? They're talking about the fact that it can spike. It can spike tremendously, and I believe that we're currently in it, but we're in the beginning stages of it. We're currently in the beginning stage of it. And the banana zone is where you have 50%, 100%, 1,000% gains, 100x. Just I'm talking about everything goes bananas. Everything goes bananas. But let's continue, just to give you guys the verbiage and the language.
A lot of big banana plantations in different islands, but so that's a decent sized banana, but that's the start, right? Because generally speaking, the post-election year, or what we would call crypto fall or crypto autumn, tends to be very strong. So it tends to be very strong. The macro backdrop is obviously very good because of deregulation, new government, all of that stuff. So we've got a good setup. It's gone far and fast. I think everyone's a bit PTSD'd still, so which is why I err towards the it probably has one more squeeze because so many people think it needs the correction now. Everyone thinks, oh, it's fine, we're at 110, we're getting 150 now, and then it corrects in everybody's faces quite sharply.
So you're saying Max Payne? You're saying Max Payne is another leg up. That's what you're basically saying. Max Payne is sending this thing one leg higher.
Yeah, one leg higher in kind of disbelief, and then kind of trapping a bunch of new entrants in, and then it does the typical 30% correction in a week and a half, and everyone's like, holy shit, what is this thing I've bought? Why did my friend at Thanksgiving tell my, cousin at Thanksgiving tell me to buy this. It's gone down 30%. We've got to go through that sort of stuff. Then normally it should rally all the way through till US tax season.
MicroStrategy has made another big move by rowing its Bitcoin stash to a whopping 402,100 coins. This massive hoard is...
See, and people don't understand. What I've realized too that people don't understand. They looking at Michael Saylor, right? As if why would he buy more at the top? The so-called top, because that isn't the top. Let me repeat, that is not the top. And I see why he would buy more, because if you do your projection and you do your homework, right, you would know that why not keep buying more? Not financial advice, but why not keep buying more if you know that it's going to be worth millions? 100,000 is just 10% of a million. So you're entering at just at a 10%. That's amazing. That is amazing. That's super amazing. In fact, it doesn't get any better than that. But let's continue.
Is worth an eye-popping $38 billion based on current prices. To put it simply, they now own nearly 2% of all Bitcoin that will ever exist. The company started buying Bitcoin back in 2020. Saylor has often said Bitcoin is the best way to store value over time, calling it digital gold. It's only a matter of time before other massive companies follow through, and this will only drive Bitcoin price higher.
Take a look at this strange device that I'm holding in my hand.
And Bitcoin prices will continue to go up even more. Yes, it's natural to have pullbacks. That's totally natural, right? Everything can't go up forever, and that's what people don't understand, right? It's going to pull back and go back up. It's going to come back down and go back up. It might crash in 2026 and then simmer down. Then you can accumulate, put $100,000, $200,000, and then you become a millionaire, because millionaires are made throughout the bear market. Let's continue.
Raoul Pal as he explains further.
I'm not sure ETH will outperform Sol, but I'm pretty sure from now on, ETH outperforms Bitcoin. Cast your mind back to 2020.
Yes,
It
I
was
remember.
November 2020 that ETH really started outperforming Bitcoin.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that well. So you think that ETH outperforms Bitcoin, but Sol outperforms ETH, and the Sol ETH chart continues to run.
Yeah, and I think Sui outperforms Sol. So that's my risk stack. So the least risky Bitcoin starts to underperform. Now we're getting to alt season as Bitcoin dominance falls. ETH will do better, but Solana is earlier in the adoption curve, so it does better. I don't know if you've been following the monthly chart of Doge Bitcoin.
Doge
That's
Bitcoin.
the ugly truth that nobody wants to talk about, is really Doge has been outperforming Bitcoin in its existence. And it's just, so look at the monthly chart since the beginning.
Okay, so let's look at that and look at the monthly chart since the beginning. Here it is.
So it came out, it corrected, it outperformed, it's causing a flag. I mean, it has outperformed Bitcoin since it came out by 500%.
That's insane.
Okay. So what are we saying here? That Doge is harder money than Bitcoin? Is that what we're saying? Oh,
It's
sorry.
outperformed Bitcoin by 160x. Well, 1,650%.
Okay.
So that's crazy.
Okay, that's something.
Do y'all hear that? 1,000. Doge has outperformed Bitcoin by 1,600%. That's
Yeah, the
crazy.
Doge is harder money than Bitcoin. Is that what we're saying? Oh,
It's
sorry.
outperformed Bitcoin by 160x. Well, 1,650%.
Okay.
So that's crazy.
Okay, that's something.
That's
so
16x.
We may joke about this, but it's been harder money than Bitcoin. You know what I mean, right? And I look at that. That looks like a flag. If that bloody thing is a
Oh
flag,
my god. Okay, yeah, I see the flag as well.
yeah. Well, yeah. And if you look at that, on a weekly chart now, if you change it to the weekly and then look at that flag, it's actually broken out.
It's breaking.
So
Yeah, I suppose,
move
yeah.
the trend line down.
Yeah.
Move the trend line down to the other high.
Which is that high.
Yeah.
It's just broken out on the weekly. Okay, I see the point. So you
See
think
my point, right?
I see your point. So at 58 billion, we should probably be adding to this position as opposed to cutting this position.
Yeah, I've been long for a while just on this thesis, but this chart is something I can't get my head around.
Yeah, you've blown my
It would be the
mind.
funniest
Yeah.
outcome that the strongest currency would be Doge.
That is crazy. Let's go back on that. That is crazy to me. That's extremely crazy to me. Dogecoin has outperformed Bitcoin by 1,000%.
It's actually broken out.
It's breaking.
So
Yeah, I suppose.
move the trend line down.
Yeah.
Move the trend line down to the absence, and it's just so. Look at the monthly chart since the beginning.
Okay, so let's look at that and look at the monthly chart since the beginning. Here it is.
So it came out, it corrected, it outperformed. It's causing a flag. I mean, it has outperformed Bitcoin since it came out by 500%.
That's insane.
Okay. So what are we saying here? That Doge is harder money than Bitcoin? Is that what we're saying? Oh,
It's
sorry.
outperformed Bitcoin by 160x. Well, 1,650%.
Okay.
So that's crazy.
Okay, that's something.
That's
so
16x.
We may joke about this, but it's been harder money than Bitcoin. You know what I mean, right? And I look at that. That looks like a flag. If that bloody thing is a
Oh
flag,
my god. Okay, yeah, I see the flag as well.
yeah. Well, yeah. And if you look at that on a weekly chart now, if you change it to the weekly and then look at that flag, it's actually broken out.
It's breaking.
So
Yeah, I suppose.
move the trend line down.
Yeah.
Move the trend line down to the other high.
Which is that high.
Yeah.
It's just broken out on the weekly. Okay, I see the point. So you
See
see
my point, right?
I see your point. So at 58 billion, we should probably be adding to this position as opposed to cutting this position.
Yeah, I've been long for a while just on this thesis, but this chart is something I can't get my head around.
Yeah, you've blown my
It would
you've
be
blown
the
my mind.
funniest
Yeah.
outcome that the strongest currency would be Doge. I mean, that is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
That is crazy. I must say, I've obviously watched the chart and I've been around, but I've never had that kind of perspective, which has been like, holy shit, look at that. What else? What else is piquing your attention at the moment? So I know you're close to Sui. I know you're close to Solana. I know you're an ETH man and a Bitcoin man, and I know you in this part of the cycle you always tend to move down the risk curve. I remember in the last cycle, this is where you started moving really down the risk curve.
So look at the Sui Solana cross.
Of the altcoins, do you think, other than Solana, which seems to have got traction, and ETH and Bitcoin and Doge, would you be looking at old coins, or would you rather be looking at new vintage coins?
I think Doge is an old coin. It has no use.
Yeah, I
Like
think
zero
an
use.
old coin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old coin. It's a Dino coin. And there's a bunch of Dino coins, and many of them have very strong communities. And so that's why they're persistent. They capture attention. There's a shit ton of content online on YouTube that exists. So if you ever start going down the rabbit hole, let's say you open a wallet today, you look what's available in Robinhood, you see a bunch of tokens that were from last cycle, you go on that, you go onto YouTube, and there's so much content about these things.
How
Then
do you
you're like, oh, these are the big ones. I don't want to comment too much, but they're just attention. And that's.
But would you play the
there's no
attention
different
game? Would you play the attention
No, I
game?
wouldn't. It's not for me. It's not for me. But I understand why people do. I understand
Tell me
because what
why-
happens is.
Tell me why you didn't. Tell me why you didn't. You don't play hot potato. Why you don't play the attention game? If it's so obvious.
Because you don't know how long the attention lasts, right? That's the meme game, which is why I only play small amounts in memes, because you just don't know when the attention stops and goes somewhere else.
That's it.
Suddenly these things plummet, right? So the attention game is everything. And
I agree with him too on that. That's why you're supposed to set up your portfolio and have diversification. 35% in Bitcoin, 25% in Ethereums and layer twos. You have what, 40% left, maybe 10% in AI, another 10% in in other cryptos, like maybe gaming, and then maybe like 2 or 3% or the other 10% in altcoins and or meme coins. Right? You have to diversify your portfolio because it's waves. It's waves. Let's continue.
I find that more difficult than something with fundamental proof. Like Sui's pretty easy because you can see the on-chain activity building, you can see the number of devs building. It's like there's metrics that you can use that don't apply to many other things.
You see this house in Florida? Well, let me show you how.
For example, apart from Doge nodes have been exploding, and I don't really understand what that is.
I must say,
I've
actually never looked at running a Doge node, but okay. I mean, I thought
apparently
Doge...
there's almost more than Bitcoin nodes now, but it's been accelerating in the last few months, and there's speculation that Tesla are going to use or SpaceX are going to use the satellites for Doge nodes. I don't know.
So when
These
you
are
move,
weird worlds.
Raoul, when you move down the risk curve, I mean, are you saying that you're going to go as far down as Sui and kind of stop at Sui and maybe add? Yeah. So you're not going to go beyond that and like build a bag of like 10 other altcoins further down down.
No. That's not my game. I'm not good enough to do that, and I don't have the attention to be able to manage a very active basket where things can change. You know, for me right now, there's a bunch of tokens that are of that new cycle that are meaningful and important, whether it's Celestia, whether it's Sui, whether it's Sei. There's a few of these around. Maybe some of the AI ones, but still a bit early for that. And so I just think, well, that's just safer. I'm not trying to make 100x.
Would you take leverage on like would you increase leverage on these things, or is that not how you increase your exposure?
I've never used leverage. All I've occasionally done is bought call options, very, very occasionally. I've never used leverage.
That is insane. Okay, I must say, I use
the first rule. Look, it depends how experienced you are. I'm a very experienced risk taker. I don't like leverage because this is the biggest macro trend of all time. The worst thing ever to do is lose your tokens.
Yes. Okay.
Rule number one of the biggest trade of all time is not to be out of the trade. It's as simple as that. And you and I know in crypto, there are so many ways you can fuck this up. Ways you don't even understand.
Don't worry.
Somebody's going to take your token.
I fucked it up last cycle. Trust me, I know exactly what.
And people will take your tokens, or the market will take your tokens in more ways than you can possibly think about. And so your job is to try and narrow that window of losing your tokens, which is why I don't use leverage. I'm not trying to be the richest man in the world. I just want to capture this biggest trend in the world.
Some altcoins have recently outperformed Bitcoin, drawing interest from investors.
And I agree with him on that, right? I agree with him on that. It's a lot of technology in this space. So you just need a cool 5, maybe 10, just to be exact, in the top of the chart, not financial advice. And then you move on from that. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what coins y'all think is up next, what you have in your bag and why, right? On that note, peace, blessings, and love. Blue Chip Crypto 3. Be safe, and I love all you guys.